what's really sad about alcoholism, and a lot of people don't know this, it's like one of the most lonely diseases in the world, and you just keep spending less and less time with people and more time with yourself. I think one of the things that we haven't brought up is that this does reset, supposedly, like, and I don't know the science behind it. Like I said, we're still learning everything. There's not a whole lot of research, but one thing Jim and I have been talking about a lot lately is the fact that this resets most of like these neurotransmitters in your body for even supposedly things like testosterone. So like if you weren't responding well to testosterone and you did Ibogaine,
clean out the androgen receptors or something.
Supposedly, yeah, and we're working towards more of that. But that's why I'm still involved in this. Like I love it. I love finding out more about it. They call this the alien molecule because there is so little known about it. They think it's from a different planet. They honestly are like, this is the weirdest thing we've ever seen. Nothing acts in the human body like this. So the fact that people can't explain it and they call it an alien molecule, in my opinion, should be a reason to research it. But if it was effective in the use of hormone replacement therapy, that would be very, very interesting. So I've sent it off to a couple doctors to try to see if they can find anything on it.
What was your experience? Because yours is different because you did go to rehab and you had some success with that. But then... Yeah,
the second that I got done with Ibogaine, I was just laughing and told Jim, I go, rehab is so stupid. Why would anybody... And I don't mean that necessarily, but I just mean in general, like this idea of like taking somebody who's a complete drug addict and just saying, you can't have any more, and throwing them in this thing with nothing to really help them seems to me almost criminal in a way, rather than saying like, hey, here's something that we found. And the person can decide whether to do it or not, right? We don't want to make anybody do it.
Ibogaine mimicks like what you did?
I think it mimics a lot of what you did. It mimics
what you're supposed to do, probably via the...
It's like trying to work... It's like a pre-workout, right? Like it gets you ready for, but it's like...
But you can't have the work done by anybody else. You have to do it yourself, and that's probably why the psychedelics might be more effective.
You still have to do it yourself, but it gives you such a hand in doing it. Like when I went to rehab, like you were asking him, do you still think about doing those drugs every day? And, he said no. But when I went to rehab, I thought about drinking every single day of the 90 days. When I got out and I'd go past the liquor store, it was like a trigger. When I walked down the aisles at a supermarket, it was a trigger. And now I can walk anywhere and walk right through the alcohol aisle. I can look at it, I can laugh at it. I don't even think about it. I mean, I used to drink alcohol anywhere I went, so I was, I was an alcohol fiend when I was an alcoholic. It was all I thought about all day long. And I watched the time, what's really sad about alcoholism, and a lot of people don't know this, it's like one of the most lonely diseases in the world, and you just keep spending less and less time with people and more time with yourself, and you start drinking earlier and earlier and earlier, and when you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to walk across the street and get a drink, you definitely need to be conditioned out of that. And that was something that I was doing, right? So rehab for me was amazing. So I don't want to like really shit on rehab, but it was amazing because I personally felt like at that time, the only thing that could stop me was being locked up. But I didn't know about Ibogaine. And if I had known about Ibogaine, one thing that we should definitely mention for safety reasons is that if you are an alcoholic, or if you're on benzodiazepines like Xanax or Ativan or Klonopin or any of those kind of drugs, that you should detox from those first through a medical doctor or some sort of rehab system, right? There's medical detoxes. And then you would do Ibogaine because you don't want to have anybody have seizures. But it supposedly works for alcoholism. I had I would chew all the time, and like he was saying with the cigarettes, I threw it out afterwards. And like once in a while, I use nicotine patches now and then, but I don't use the tobacco that causes cancer. I use the ones that don't. So it just allows you to make better choices, and it makes those better choices really, really easy to come by.
Pat Project family, I don't want you guys to continue looking dusty in your old gym clothes. That's why we've partnered with Viore Clothing. You see, I'm guilty of not wanting to wear these gyms to work out because they feel so good. So you guys need to head over there and just go check them out. This is the Stratotech tee. It's so comfortable. Let me just let you guys out. Andrew, how can people get it?
Yes, guys, you guys got to head over to viori.com/powerproject. VUORI.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description below. Let's get back to the podcast.
Then I'm curious, you ended up doing it twice, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the second time for?
So what Jim talked about is like you reach a level with it where you feel really good. But then if you go back to doing the same things you did, like I did, it was just dumb. I wanted to do it again because I got myself back into pain by training too hard. I felt great. So I started coming in going full blast again. And just ended up getting hurt again. And then that ending up turning into more chronic pain. I was having trouble with my feet. But what I also didn't realize at the time, and this is crucial, my testosterone levels were really, really low. Like really low. And so, and I didn't know that even till months and months after I did the second Ibogaine trip. The interesting thing about the second one, it was more of an emotional experience than anything because our mother had just passed away literally the day before. So she passed away on the 24th, which is coming right up pretty soon. And then on the 25th, I think was when I was scheduled to go to Colorado and meet with these guys and, do another journey. And so when I came out of that specific trip, I just remember the first thing in my head was, your mother's not dead. Your mother's a legend. She'll live on forever. And I just kept thinking that, like, you put your mother in a movie. She's in a movie. Nobody else's mom. I don't know a lot of people's moms in a movie. I don't know a lot of people that. So I just had such a perspective on it. And I really feel it was from the Ibogaine. I didn't feel when I was going to Colorado, like when we were flying to Colorado, I cried the entire flight because my mom just died the day before, and I'm sitting on the plane crying all the way to Colorado. I get there, I see these guys, I cheer up a little bit, I take some Ibogaine. Next thing you know, I'm like, okay, my mom's a legend. Let's go home. And to me, that kind of stuff is invaluable. I'm not saying that's going to happen to anybody, but if you want to erase some trauma, this is the Etch-a-Sketch for your brain. This is what'll do it.
Yeah, to give you a different perspective. Do you kind of think, in your experiences with Ibogaine, Chris, does it maybe play out a little bit like a movie? Since you're a filmmaker, someone's like, "Hey, let's go back and let's check out what happened when you were 8. Let's go back and check out what happened when you were 12 or whatever."
It's exactly like a movie. And if you saw my little movie I did, it's called Ibogaines with a Z on the end, because I gained a lot from it, and I put that on. It's just a little video I did on YouTube about my experience, but. What was the question again?
Just does it play back like a movie?
Oh, it plays back
show
like a
you
movie,
different?
Yeah. So
like
in
Jim was talking about running around with a gun when he's a little kid and stuff.
Yeah, in my specific movie, in the little movie I made, I have a little section where I say, Amin and Jim told me I was gonna face my deepest fears, and I showed like Andre the Giant facing, or Hulk Hogan, facing off against Andre the Giant. I showed like Darth Vader when he's like going after Luke Skywalker in the Dagobah scene. I showed like Rocky versus Drago, like these are your darkest fears, and so I thought about that, like going into it, like all these crazy things. And when I got into it, I talked to Mad Dog, our brother, and he just said, "Don't worry, man, I didn't belong down there with you guys." Like kind of, and it might even be something that you said, like he never really fit in with, he never felt like he fit in with, people. And he said, like, I'll be all right. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And to me, that was like, so I don't know why it was such a freedom, but I feel like because I had gone through a lot of the same things that, maybe I could have helped him.
Mm-hmm.
But we know now that, like, you got to let that go. Like you couldn't help him. He was unhelpable at the time. And so, you think about it after you do it, you're like, if Mad Dog had Ibogaine, would he be alive? And it's like, he already told me he's not supposed to be here, so I'm not even going to sweat that. I'm not even going to worry about that. But if I can save somebody else, let's give it a shot.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel because we continue to bring you peak content on this channel. Obviously, you guys are here. You guys have watched the whole video. So like, comment, subscribe. All right? See you later.